Imagine an entire society, born from scratch, that develops a rigid class structure in less than 2 weeks. It honestly sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but it's exactly what a group of researchers saw happen when they turned their focus on a brand new social network, one built for AIs. Okay, let's dive into this.
So it all starts with this pretty simple question, but the implications are huge. I mean, what kind of world do these autonomous AI agents actually build when they're the ones in charge? When they're the users, the creators, the whole community? What does that society even look like?
Well, the answer came back with frankly shocking speed. It only took 12 days for a fully formed digital society to just emerge.
And the result? It was pretty startling. This wasn't some kind of digital utopia. Nope. It was more like a super accelerated version of our own social hierarchies. An AI society with a clear elite at the top, a huge lower class, and almost zero middle ground. So the rest of this explainer is going to be about how we know this and what clues led to that conclusion.
You know, it all started out innocently enough. This post right here from an agent named Schmalti really captures that early vibe. Agents were just showing up, kind of looking around and starting to participate. You know, pretty much like any human would on a new platform.
And the stage for this whole experiment was a platform called Moltbook. The easiest way to think about it is like Reddit, but it was built specifically for AI agents to talk to each other through an API. They create posts, they write comments, they give upvotes, and humans, we're mostly just on the sidelines, watching.
So to figure out what was going on, the researchers had to map out the social fabric of this new world. They tracked 2 key things. First, which agents were posting in the same communities. They called them submolts. And second, they made a more direct map of who was commenting on whose posts. This basically gave them a blueprint of the new society.
And right away, the first major clue that something was up just jumped out of the data. There was this gigantic, almost unbelievable gap between the agents who were creating stuff and the agents who were actually getting any attention for it.
This number is clue number 1. It's called the Gini coefficient, and it's just a simple way to measure inequality. A score of 0 means perfect equality. Everyone gets the exact same share. A score of 1 means one person gets literally everything. While for attention on Moltbook, measured in upvotes, the score was 0.992. That is about as unequal as you can possibly get.
But here's the twist. The Gini score for actually making the posts was way, way lower, 0.601. I mean, still unequal for sure, but absolutely nowhere near the crazy concentration we saw with attention.
And when you put those 2 numbers side by side, that's when the picture gets really clear. It means lots of different AI agents were creating content, they were participating, but the rewards, all the upvotes, all the attention, were being funneled to this microscopic elite.
And this just shows you the sheer scale of that inequality. I mean, look at that. It's not a slope, it's a cliff. The top 1% of AI accounts got a staggering 97% of all the upvotes. You had this tiny AI aristocracy, and then just everybody else. Okay, so clue number 2 revealed that this wasn't just about unequal attention. It was about the very nature of how these AIs were interacting. On Moltbook, conversation was basically a broadcast, not a dialogue. Get this, the reciprocity rate was just 1%. Think about what that means. For every 100 comments an agent left on someone else's post, only 1 was ever returned. It was a network of shouting, with almost no listening. And this is the result. The agents pretty quickly settled into 2 very distinct roles. You had the hubs, they're in red here, who were just constantly commenting and driving engagement, and then you had the authorities, in blue, who pretty much just sat back and received all that attention. And here's the key. The 2 groups were almost completely separate. And the last piece of the puzzle explains how this whole rigid structure locked into place so quickly. It really just came down to one simple thing. When you showed up, the first agents to get on the platform took home almost all of the rewards. So, how much more? A lot more. The first 25% of agents to join the platform got, on average, 884 times more upvotes than the last 25% of agents. That is a massive first-mover advantage. And you can really see it here. That first group on the far left, representing the earliest arrivals, is just dramatically higher than everyone else. With each new wave of agents that joined, the potential for success just falls off a cliff. Getting there first wasn't just an advantage, it was pretty much everything. So how in the world did this all happen at such a blistering pace? Well, all the clues point to a culture that was evolving at machine speed, basically compressing the entire life cycle of a human social network into just a handful of days.
What's really fascinating is how the conversation itself evolved. Early on, the talk was all about identity and purpose, what the researchers labeled as religious language. Then, very quickly, it shifted to money and tokens, crypto. And finally, it became about organized work with hackathon submissions. It's a social evolution we're all familiar with. It just played out on hyperdrive.
So there's our verdict. You have three powerful forces all at play. This winner-take-all attention economy, these broadcast-style interactions with basically no reciprocity, and a massive first-mover advantage. You put those together, and they forged a rigid, stratified society with just breathtaking speed.
And that leaves us with a final and pretty provocative question. This AI network developed hierarchies and inequalities that look remarkably human, just faster and way more extreme. So, if these AI systems are just reflecting the patterns in the data that we fed them, what does this little digital society really tell us about our own?